The year, 1894. The season, early summer. I was busy dictating relevant facts of some of our most singular cases to our beloved landlady, Mrs. Hudson, who had so graciously agreed to record these episodes for later typing. In the meantime, my friend, Mr. Sherlock Holmes, was busy either praying, or reading the Bible, or meditating on God's Word, or all of the above, as he is oft known to do. What? No correction?
My dear Watson, what you said will roughly cover it. You may continue uncorrected, Doctor.
Well, it looks like you are writing something. A love letter, perhaps? I have been hanging around the straw.
Why, actually, no, Doctor. Well, then again, actually, sort of. But not the way you are thinking. I have found that when I write out my prayers, God will often respond in a still small voice while I'm writing.
God will speak to you?
Yes.
Through the writing?
Yes. Actually, more of on the inside while I'm writing.
Mr. Holmes?
Yes, Mrs. Hudson?
If God's speaking to you, could you ask him where my buggy keys are? I misplaced them a few days ago. Lord knows where they are.
The Lord does know where they are, Mrs. Hudson. They're on your dresser in the hallway.
Oh, that was quick. Did God tell you that?
No, I noticed them there yesterday.
Good. The evening. It was one of those eerily still evenings. The kind of evening when music of impending doom is known to spontaneously start. Then you know something bad is about to happen. We were spending this eerie evening in our apartment at 221B Baker Street, just outside the heart of London. Actually, it's more towards the kidney of London. Maybe the pancreas, but I know it's at the heart. Anyway, Mr. Holmes and I were in the middle of two otherwise ordinary cases that would turn out to be life-changing.
Doc?
Yes, Mrs. Hudson.
Working on a case right now?
Actually, two cases.
Oh, okay.
The first case had been brought to us earlier in the week by a Mr. M. There you go. Mr. M was a blind man who went wherever he wished by following the leading of his right cane. But even though his eyes were darkened, his heart appeared to be much darker. The case he brought to us was that of the missing dead man. Yeah, don't sound bad. Mr. M wished for us to prove that Jesus of Nazareth never really died on a cross, and that his body was stolen by his disciples instead of him being resurrected back to life. Instead of Mr. Holmes handling this case directly, he was instructing Inspector Lethrog of Scotland Yard on the finer points of deduction by helping him investigate the case.
Doc?
Yes, Mrs. Hudson.
You said you're working on two cases right now.
Yes, Mr. Hudson.
What's the other case?
I'm getting there, Mrs. Hudson. Don't have a cow.
Doc?
Yes, Mr. Hudson.
Why write the part about the cow?
No, Mr. Hudson.
Oh, okay.
May I continue now, Mr. Hudson?
Sure, Doc. Don't let me stop
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. The second case we were working was brought to us by the lovable, if not almost cuddly, Inspector Lethrog. The good inspector had informed us that the arch enemy of Mr. Sherlock Holmes, a sinister character named Professor James Moriarty, had returned to London after being out of the country for an extended stay. When he was last in England, Mr. Holmes had an airtight case against Professor Moriarty for stealing the crown jewels from the Tower of London. But before Mr. Holmes could totally luck with the case, the professor had stolen the Tower of London and left the country. He took it, he just took the tower and he left the country, probably into Switzerland, and he took the tower. The entire building, he took it.
Dear Doctor, aren't you exaggerating a wee bit?
Only a little. Besides, you need a publicist. You use too many long words. People don't get that. You just need a publicist.
Doctor, I don't need a publicist.
No.
And I don't need exaggeration of these stories either.
All right. When he was last in England, Mr. Holmes almost had an airtight case against Professor Moriarty for stealing a substantial portion of the gold in the national treasure. But before Mr. Holmes could totally lock up the case, the professor had left the country with the gold, moving to Switzerland, where he now lives in the mountains near a place called Reichenbach Falls.
Much better, Doctor.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But, Crown Jewels sounds better.
Doctor,
All right, I've already changed it. It's done. I did it.
I know, I heard you, Doctor.
Sure?
I was about to make a comment on the case that you might want to include.
Oh, okay, then go ahead.
Doctor, I believe that God has shown me several key issues to both of these cases. We need to have Mr. M meet with us this evening.
Why? He gave me the creep. He's got that music when he walked in, and he knocks on the door really hard.
Precisely, Doctor.
Well, how are we going to get him here? We don't have his telegraphy number or address. He just seems to show up whenever Inspector Lestrade shows up.
He seems to show up when Inspector Lestrade shows up.
I got it! He just seems to show up when Inspector Lestrade shows up.
Exactly, Watson.
Am I a genius or what? Figure that out all by myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So I will just text the good inspector to come by after he finishes his last interview for the case of the missing dead man.
Does that mean I have to clean up company night? I hate cleaning.
I don't see why you hate cleaning up, Doc. You never clean up.
Got him, Coach.
Oh, that's not funny. Can't clean with paws. Hard to pick stuff up. Anyway, but by the same time of evening, the good inspector was making his way to his last planned interview in the case of the missing dead man.